Episode of men actively attempting to keep men single and lonely. We have Shaq here saying that a man should never open up to a woman. Let's listen to what he says.
Open up to a woman?
Yeah.
Never. No, never.
When's the last time you think you've opened up to a woman?
We don't.
Your whole life.
Bro, I'm telling you.
Man, got players like I could. Me and him related.
Yeah.
It's our first time meeting,
Yeah,
but
I
I
can
just
tell you guys there's some connection here.
Oh no.
If they gonna tell you, you can.
Because you know why?
But it's a trap.
Because you know why?
I'm trapped like a motherfucker.
No, I'm gonna tell you why. Because once you do, whenever something go down, they're gonna throw it back in your face.
Well, that's
why.
That's real.
That's why. So you can't ever.
That's why you cry, because your dad left.
Yeah. You open up to a woman?
Yeah.
Never. No, never.
Okay, now, what did some of the people on Twitter say? If you don't want to be open with your partner, then don't date. Simple. This person says this thread is a prime example of men expressing how true this is and women and simps saying what the problem is. No, the problem is the women, many of them who are immature narcissist brats who weaponize vulnerability to manipulate as a default setting. Okay, Shunami says all of the women in the comments bringing up him being sad about living alone are doing exactly what he said they do. You couldn't write it better. Now, what is that man talking about? Shaq's first marriage ended because he was community peen. He was throwing it out and he was cheating on his wife. So he went on another podcast, or it could have been his own podcast, where he was talking about his depression and loneliness, and he was talking about the fact that he was a cheater.
I'm giving her some time to really flesh out her point, you guys. So that's why I'm not really saying much anything right now. It's not bad.
I never talked about this, and I'm glad you guys are asking because I don't mind talking about that. But I was bad. She was awesome. She really was. It was all me. I was just look. We don't need to talk about what I was doing, but I wasn't protecting her and protecting those vows. So, sometimes when you live that double life, you get caught up in. So I'm not going to say it was her, it was all me. Because she did exactly what she's supposed to do. Gave me beautiful kids, take care of the house, take care of corporate stuff. It was just all me. Sometimes when you make a lot of mistakes like that, you can't really come back from that. But as I get older and dwell on situations, I can honestly say it was all me.
Are there things from that time you would?
Okay, first off, let's just talk about this real quick, right? So I'm somebody that I don't know what the lives are like for other men out there, right? But let me just tell you about my growing up, my beginning times, man. I was fat, bow-legged, pigeon-toed, I had diabetes, and I was asthmatic. I was effectively a disabled kid for until about 9th grade, right? The reason why that happened is because I decided to just get off my ass and start exercising. I joined the football team, and I spent 4 years on the football team, and that 4 years completely changed my life. And it showed me the importance of health, wealth, fitness, all that kind of things like that, right? When I did get into the football team, I got a lot of girl attention. And to me, I wasn't even really thinking sexually at the time. I kind of was, but like I wasn't acting upon it, right? I was doing it the right way, right? My mom told me to, that a lot of girls, they only can really get into it if they're really emotional, and so, I shouldn't take advantage of things like that. And in some ways, she was absolutely right. In other ways, I wish that I was able to kind of have a male role model in my life that was I could look up to, right? The men around as growing up, they all about, playing, go fuck a lot of chicks, go smash around. And long story short, as I'm 28 now, thinking about my past, I think that it's hard to say whether or not I did the right thing or not, right? I was the guy that wanted to lose my virginity to my girlfriend, to first love. I wanted to wait. I was busy focusing on school and football, and I burnt myself out, man. I burnt myself out. And eventually I got to the point where, I kept saying no to all the girls in the school. So the girls, some girls thought I was gay because they did not see, it was so odd for them to see a guy attractive on a football team, girls coming to him, like, and not hearing any stories of him having sex with these girls, right? And so that was the thing, right? Some girls started to think I was gay, right? And so like I said, like being 28 now, I think that I should have done a lot more. And I think in times of right now, right, we live in the OnlyFans era. I think it's important to open up a little bit. I think it really is important. I think you should absolutely have one or two girls that are good girls, right? You can find a great girl, and she may not be everything that you want, but personality, in my personal opinion, is it's very it weighs a lot. It weighs a lot. It can't be everything though. You can't a relationship unfortunately isn't always founded and stayed glued together due to personality, right? And that's at 28 what I'm realizing, right? Girl could be damn near perfect in every situation, but if the physical isn't hitting it, you guys aren't being able to communicate appropriately and things like that, then it's just not gonna really go well. Now, I say all this to say, right? When it comes to opening up, yes, a lot of women, especially even the girl that I've been talking to for the past 5 years, they absolutely will use your opening up and your personal life against you. Rollo Tomasi in the Rational Male, read all the books except the last one. I haven't finished that one. In one of those books, it says that men are actually the true romantics. That's the biggest lie in society is that women are way more romantic than men are, right? That could be debated. I think that if we are truly honest about it, women desire romance. But true romance, you guys, that really is the man. The man has to do it. The man has to creatively think in his mind ways to swoon the girl's heart, to make it melt. The woman is the recipient of it. How many times have you heard of women doing very romantic things for guys? Valentine's Day, you guys. I've been fortunate enough that the girl that the reason why I've been with her so long and I've spent just everything with her is because she's given me something I've never gotten from any girl, actual like thought into in consideration into gifts, really being very sweet. That's a long lost art of a lot of women these days, you guys. And so to me, that was the woman that I feel like I should be emotionally open to. And so that still gets used against you. And so this whole thing of not being emotional, opening up to a woman or not, you can't use it as a blanket term. I think in general, being the quote unquote player, you guys, there's times and a place to put on that hat. Like let's just really be honest, you guys. You have to have at least you've had to have some kind of bad boy phase. You've got to have some edge in you because you will get ran over by a lot of these girls, especially in 2024 with all the options out there for women these days. You are just another dude with a penis out there, just like so many other men out there, right? And even if you're working hard, let's come on, let's keep it 100, you guys. There's a lot of men working hard. There's a lot of men that are better than you in a lot of different things. At the end of the day, it is your self-confidence, knowing what your fair value is for yourself and understanding how the game works, right? You got to be a player sometimes. There's a time and place where you should hold your emotions and then give it out. You don't just always be emotional. You know what happens when you're just always emotional, being vulnerable all the time? It gets sick. It gets tiring. Even if let's just be real. Even if a girl says she wants it in doses, man. Just like everything, you gotta have things in doses, bro. Like and that's something that I think evades a lot of people's minds. It's not, you don't always 100% open and honest. You gotta have a little mystique about you. It makes it fun. Relationships, you gotta think about this, guys. As guys, we spend most of our time, especially growing up, sports, competing against each other. It's the bat swinging contest. The dick measuring contest. You know what I mean? We trying to one up each other, or we're being funny. We bonding with the dudes. You know what I'm saying? Girls, they spend a lot more time talking about other people, socializing, like, and so socializing is a game. It's a very fun game. It's a necessity. It's like water to a lot of girls. Guys, we can go on monk mode, man. We don't have to see, like, I don't know about you, but when I see some of my guy friends, I cannot talk to them for months, years, and we could just pick it right back up whenever we start talking or chatting up. You know what I mean? If our schedules align for it. For girls, it's not that similar, right? And so you gotta make it a bit of a game, and part of that game is learning the right moments to be emotional, be vulnerable, because that strengthens relationships and communication. You can't be just a super stoic more on anime and stuff like that. If you do that, honestly though, you will get a lot more girls liking you, right? This is the thing, right? This is what a lot of women don't tell you. I don't know what she's gonna say, but having that stoicism, the mystique about you, we're saying just enough, not everything, but saying just enough to get the message across and to let people know, to get interested in you, will give you a lot of women to sleep with, right? You may not get the wifey type of girl, and being emotional, finding the right woman to be emotional with, will get you those interactions and relationships sometimes that you really want. You can I can get all the things that I've gotten from girl I've been talking to from just like a little side thing, right? And some side pieces honestly do even better than your main girl and stuff like that, right? But in your heart, it doesn't feel right. And that is the part right there. You got to think about yourself. You got to be selfish in this point in this game, right? I know that sounds wrong, and girls listen to this are like, "Oh, you being selfish." No, it's important for everyone to look out for yourself. You gotta keep stock and status of your own emotional levels. This is something. Emotional control is super important for men. It's so important for men, especially nowadays. You guys, you're not a robot, and in trying to, if you are a robot, you just don't have feelings for these girls. You grew up like that for a long time. Okay, even better, right? Even better. But the thing about Shaq, I will say, is being that lonely at that successful, you know what I'm saying? That's something I've been fearful of. So I wanted to make sure I was able to develop the abilities to create a relationship, a very loving, strong relationship. I know what it feels like to be loved. That is what I wanted to do before I jumped out there and was the playboy and stuff like that. Because contrary to popular belief, you guys, a lot of men don't say this out there. They're like, "Oh, girls can't do that. They lose the ability to bond attach, but guys can do it." No, like, you guys, it's the same for guys too. You've got to learn how to build relationships with girls, and sometimes platonic relationships. You can't always stick your digging stick into everything. You know what I'm saying? And so, I know this was really long, but I wanted to just let this marinate a little bit before I gave my opinion on it.
Would change, and do you believe if you changed them, you'd still like to be married, or you still like to be in that position where you could be with your kids and, like Channing said, could control those type of things?
The best feeling for me was coming home and hearing 5, 6 different voices. Don't matter if I missed 15 free throws and we lost. They don't care about that. Dog man's home. Like, we used to play something called Dog Man. As soon as I come in, I turn into a wild dog and I chase him and bite him. I just used to get him and act like I'm biting him. And
Dog man.
yeah, and they used to love that. And look, I was just being greedy. I had the perfect situation. Wife was finer than a mug.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the situation, you guys. There's this entire, unfortunately, our nature, right? Especially if you're a very successful one of one kind of guy, right? Shaq is a one of one kind of guy. He felt as if he should get what he deserves, which is harems on harems. And a lot of women, unfortunately, especially that want to be quote unquote wives and stuff like that, they just don't, they're not okay with it. And it does kind of suck, because we could create really good things with each other if we were just to allow these types of things. And I think that the polyamorous, healthy polyamorous, and the very healthy relationships where guys kind of show off their wife, that allows them to have multiple wives or other girls. Quite honestly, unfortunately, and I hate to say this, but and for a guy, right? If you have a, if you, and there's lots of guys out there that don't want this, but like the majority of guys want to have options. I think for me, it's not even just it is about options. It's about my desires. It makes me focus better in what I have to do when I know my needs are getting met. My girl's not making them needs. She's tired. She's just not up for it. Well, I should deserve to get another type of another place to fulfill those desires, right? Because I'm bringing the bread to the table. You know what I'm saying? But that's not necessary anymore for a lot of girls. A lot of girls making more bread than a lot of these guys are here. You know what I'm saying? And if they're not making that kind of bread, they have plenty of opportunities to sustain the lifestyle that they want. And what a lot of guys are hoping for is that the end life is going to show that these women made the wrong decisions and stuff like that. You guys, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but the way that the world's heading and the way that the world has been for a while, you guys, um, I don't really think there's going to be many consequences for a lot of the lives that a lot of women are leading, right? And if there are consequences to like the OnlyFans, to just messing around and stuff like that, it's because they honestly, quite honestly, just weren't smart. Let's be real about it, man. There's so many women that have done atrocious things, and they still have droves of men lining up to marry them and things like that. The biggest example I could think of is Casey Anthony. She literally just killed her baby, man. Went to the club the same day. Drank, hooked up with some dudes, and she's married now. As public as her case was, she's married. Let's not mention all the teachers, the female teachers out there that are sleeping with these kids, right? You a guy, and if something like that happens, you're destroyed. You're destroyed. For a woman, it's a slap on the wrist. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I think that Shaq is kind of misleading some people, and I wanted to hear what this girl had to say. So let's see what she has to say.
Still finer than a mug. I had it all. Just sometimes and I don't make excuses. I know I messed up. And then, when I didn't have that, I don't like to use the D word because I don't really know what it is, but I was lost. 76,000 square foot house by yourself. Lost. No kids. Go to the gym. Nobody's playing in the gym. You go to their room. Nobody's there. You start to feel it.
That's another thing, unfortunately, you guys, as guys, like, man, this is something that's, it may be different in different cultures, but I can say this at least when it comes to like, black women, unfortunately, you guys, and it's just, it's women in general, but the court system is going to favor the men or favor the woman. And so it sucks to have to say this, right? But in order to protect yourself, because when you are emotionally damaged, when you're emotionally vulnerable, when you're at your lowest of lows, you're not thinking in the proper way. That's when intrusive thoughts can actually manifest and take over control. And that's where a lot of bad things happen to men and women. As men, we are very powerful physically. And so because of that, it is up to us to control ourselves. And one of the best ways to do it that they don't talk about, unfortunately, is not developing too strong of attachments with your kids. I know it's fucked up to say, right? But there's a level of quote unquote detachment that I feel like should be on reserve just in case things were to go wrong and your wife takes your princess and your prince away, because that is a very likely possibility. If you are one of those men out there who fortunately have a solid relationship with a beautiful woman, right, a wife, and this isn't even a consideration, a possibility, you won the jackpot. And if you still have desires to, fornicate with other women, I highly suggest you guys truly talk about it. Like, there's no point in just going behind her back and doing it. You've got something great. She's got something great. She's with you, obviously. You beat out all the other guys. You shouldn't have to throw away your life and your desires for, a couple things, right? You guys should talk about it. Be able to talk about it. But yeah.
I said to myself, okay, you're not married, but you still have to protect and provide for this family. Get your ass up, man up, let's go. What you gonna do next? Because, may not be a husband, but I'm always be a father. And the father's job is to protect, provide, and love. I have two, I don't like to use the term baby mamas, I have two wonderful women that have given me beautiful, gorgeous children. I have to protect and I have to provide and I have to love for them forever. That's why I work so hard. I don't work for me, I got it all. I gotta work for them, I gotta work for my 6 babies.
So maybe had he been vulnerable and actually opened up to his wife and connected with his wife instead of, going around dipping into random vajayjays, he could have been happier and more fulfilled. Now
See, I'm not even gonna let it continue real quick. I'm gonna let it continue after I say this, but this is the most common commentary that a woman like her has to say. You know, I don't know much about her, but like this is such a common thing. It's like, oh well, if you had a done what she wanted, you don't know what he was doing. He obviously was vulnerable because he's talking about it. Oh yeah, they will use it against you. He obviously was open to her, right? And you keep saying, oh, different JJs. Listen, man, this is like you're dealing with a one of one kind of guy. There's only one fucking Shaq in the world. Should he, if he feels like he should have all the cattle on the field, you know what I'm saying? It's up to the type of woman he gets that is up for that, right? Unfortunately, as guys, we fall for looks and personality, but compatibility, it's a chemistry, it's an equation, you guys. You got to have a great combination of looks, personality, and compatibility when you want to really settle down with a girl, right? There are some girls that are okay with this and that understand it and are willing to do whatever it takes to be in a great situation, be with a multimillionaire, never have to work again. You know what I'm saying? There's plenty of people out there. I think honestly, Shaq just kind of he just chose wrong, unfortunately, which is what a lot of us fall into. We fall into these traps. But as a guy, you gotta always think about these possibilities, man. We're if I don't know how old you are, if you're unmarried, you have the luxury of seeing examples of very successful men be completely destroyed mentally and emotionally because of relationships that they've had in the past. You know what I'm saying? And so when women like this talk like this right here, it's so hard to as soon as she kind of starts to make a commentary, it automatically turns into fluff. It's like empty calories. It's like, here we go again. No offense, but it's just like this isn't helpful. like, well, if you were, it's just not helpful.
he has this big old house. He doesn't have the kids running around, and he's talking about depression. That's not throwing his words back as a weapon. That is, this is your issue. This is what you did, and commenting. The men at the top say that work against you every time.
That's a perfect example of what she said. She actually said it right. I'm so happy she said it exactly for what it is. To men, it's being emotional, right? To women, it's a status, right? Like in a video game, you're poisoned. You got madness, right? You got the sleep status. To women, it's not you being emotional, right? It's, oh, this is just what you are right now, and this is a hindrance to me and my goals. Like, that's kind of the reason why Shaq and other men are like, yo, just don't be emotional, don't open up to these girls, because they will use it as a weapon. Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of us men desire to have the relationship that we have with our mom with our wife, and unfortunately, yet again, a lot of women aren't raised to even treat men that way.
Time. This person says he's not completely wrong, though. Men, especially black men, are not always given the space to be vulnerable or open up, despite women saying you can open up. Don't get me wrong, men are guilty of it too, but it's lopsided. This person says, who wants to bring that kind of distrust and loneliness into a marriage? Why don't you trust your wife? And this person says, Iceberg Slim Pimp, the story. Okay, so he's given Iceberg Slim. Okay, no. Althea says, I'm not sure what you mean by open up, but I
All
think
right, I
it's
think that's really about it.
important.
She's just continuing to read off comments and what other people are saying and stuff like that. Let's see what this is about here.
People is part of. AI girlfriends are making the male loneliness epidemic worse. Opinion, the cure to male loneliness. Why are
Yeah,
men lonely?
she's just reading off stuff. Check her out, burgnbougie. Let's check this out. Here's another thing, you guys. We'll say this, right?
So I have a top 10 list of.
Here's another thing, right? And good for her, man. Like, she put the fucking work in. So I'm absolutely not hating. We can agree to disagree on certain things, but she put that work in. 2.3 thousand videos. Good for her, man. Good for her. That's crazy. That's a lot of videos right there. She's been putting in that work. So, last thing I'm gonna just say about this, you guys, and we can put a wrap on it. And I think, in my personal opinion, that you can obviously take my words for it. You don't have to trust me or anything like that just because of my looks and stuff like that, you guys. One thing that I can say is be very careful with the advice you get from men and women. One of the reasons why I just, in my personal opinion, I don't really like to hang out with too many guys is because, well, first off, I feel like there's not a lot of quality guys that I want to be friends with and open up with, because unfortunately, guys are your competition, and opening up to other guys could open you up vulnerably to getting robbed, to them taking your girl, to just doing some shady, slimy stuff, man. I've experienced a lot of stuff, you guys. My homie that I thought was my brother left me out to die and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, it's quite honestly, men and women are dangerous. Like, it's so, you can't just be a fucking hermit crab and just curl up in your shell, right? You've still got to learn how to be open and vulnerable to men and women. But my personal opinion, one of the reasons why I don't hang out with too many guys is because their mindsets are not right. And even if they got a lot of money and success and shit like that, they just, their mentality, the thing, their morals are just not aligned all the times, right? Um, and so there are a lot of guys out there who can't really, unfortunately, give a lot of good advice, right? I'm someone that I want to have a very active sex life, nice money, riches, and health. I want to continue. I want, and I don't want to have a family. I do, you know, and I think the two can actually be. You know, my last ex, she was like, "Oh, you want your cake and eat it too." You know, I never heard that before. When she said, I was like, you know what, I do. I do want my cake and I'll eat it too. But here's another thing real quick I'm gonna give y'all, and then I'm gonna leave this alone, you guys, because this is a very long video. Women that do talk like this, right? Like burgnbougie, like this shit right here, right? Women that do talk like that, you got to see the men that they're with. A lot of and do you want to be the man that is with her? That's I'm gonna say it again. A lot of women that give this advice. Are you the type of man? Do you want to be the man that she's with? A lot of these guys, and I've seen it happen, if you do want to be with certain types of women that look a certain way, look at the types of guys that they've been with in the past. Emulate yourself to be like those guys that she's been with. Easy as shit, you guys. The girls the guys that the girls have been with that you want have been with in the past. Be those types of guys, and you are very likely to get those types of girls that you want physically, right? Tattoos, don't give a F, player boy, stoic, all those types of things. Nice car, whatever, you know what I mean? Always on the go, active social life. Yeah, be that. You know what I'm saying? And you'll get the girls that you want. And then on the other end, you guys, the guys that are telling you not to be, if they do blanket terms and stuff like that, you guys, that's just not good. You need to have tools in your belt, and you need to know when to use them at the right times. I thought this was a good video. I know I wanted to talk today. I didn't think I was gonna get into this, but I think that's good, you guys. So with that being said, man, it's your brother Trey, and I'll see you guys in the next video.